What's going on, guys? It's Brandon again, and today I'm bringing you a new War Thunder video, and today we are taking a look at the B-24 Liberator. I received a request by Garrett Dort to do a B-24 formation video. However, my friends and I soon realized a new tactic would be needed due to the change in the tiering system, so we learned that the traditional like B-17 type of formation would not work. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about the perks to owning a B-24 Liberator compared to the B-17s. You know, is it worth buying, and the tactics that my squad and I have worked out with the B-24s. Then, in my next video, you will see a full bomber formation. Oh, and to throw this in really quick, I found my new favorite camo for the B-24. It's called Strawberry Bitch, and I will go ahead and leave a link to it in the description. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. Now, B-17s versus B-24s, I'm going to break this up into three categories based on current tiering and the average survival rate of my squad. Now, for the B-17E and the B-17EL, on average, our survival percentage is about 85-90% when holding a tight formation. The B-17G formation holding pattern, our survival percentage is about 75 to 80%. Now for the B-24 Liberator, our survival is about 50 to 55%. The thing is, the B-24 really is the better bomber in the eyes of our squad. The problem is the 163s in the higher tier planes that you get put up against. So we began to think, how do we boost that survival percentage, and we will go ahead and talk about that later on in the video. Let's just go ahead and finish up this part first. So back to the part where I said the Liberator is a better plane. Here is why. Landings are a strong, likable feature to this plane. The tricycle landing gears provide soft, smooth landings with limited bounce combined with the landing flaps, provide quick, short landings with limited runway space needed. For those of you who don't know what tricycle landing gear is, it is basically a plane that sits on the front wheel and is leveled off, as opposed to the back wheel on a B-17, for example, tilting backwards. Now moving on to the bomber load, basically the B-17s and the B-24's bomber load is basically the same, except the B-24 gets 20 100-pounders as opposed to the B-17G version, which gets 4 2,000-pounders, which is pretty nice. And then the E's and the ELs get, like, I think it is 2 2,000-pounders. Now we're going to move into the part of the B-24 that I like the best. So when it comes to the B-24 versus the B-17s, in terms of turret usage, the B-17Es and ELs have 8 turrets, while the B-17G version has 9. The B-24 has 8 turrets, so immediately you would think the G version would win. Well, that's not the case. If you notice on the B-24, the wings sit up higher on the plane, as well as the wings have a skinnier design. This allows almost all the guns to fire and work as a single unit, hitting angles the B-17 can only dream of hitting. In lay terms, the guns have a wider field of view with very few limitations as to where they can fire, and in my opinion, that's what makes the B-24 a better plane. Defense is everything when it comes to these things, so I know that all of this has been there when we've been in battle, and we've gone up against planes and our B-17s or B-24s or any bomber in general just gets torn to bits. So moving on, I'm not going to worry and talk about anything like max speed, roll time, turn times. Usually we don't worry about that when we're flying in our bomber formations. We just get in formation, head from point A to point B, and then go back to home and land, basically. So that's all that we're going to worry about. So we are going to move into the tactics that we are now using with the B-24. Okay, so moving into the tactics, it took us a while to get used to the B-24, considering that the tiering system is different. Like I said in the very beginning of the video, we're now getting put up against 163s, 162s, and I'm pretty sure that we were towards the old tiering system, but this one is more common, it's more often, and it can become more annoying at some points. So what we try to do, depending on the map, we usually always try to get a runway start if we can. That way, if there's any fighters on our team, they can get ahead of us and they can become basically the bait. And we just fly to the objectives. We always hit the objectives first, usually from left to right. So we usually take off from what runways, go up, hit the objectives, and then fly back to base and rearm. However, if you notice in this video, we are not very high off the ground, as opposed to, say, like my B-17 videos, where we're usually up to like 4,000 meters up in the sky or something like that. This one, we usually only sit from about maybe 700 to 1,000 meters off the ground, and we just hover up here. And we usually hover at around this level because for for some reason, a lot of people have a tendency to come at us from behind and from the sides. And it eliminates the bottom threat because a lot of people don't go underneath us at these lower altitudes. They usually come in from the top of us, hit us, and usually they'll avoid us, and then they'll come back around and chase us. So we're kind of eliminating a vital area of the plane that we can't really cover all that well. Just remember, some maneuvering is probably going to be needed because your most vulnerable point is when a plane is diving from the top of you. It's another place that you really can't cover all that well, so that initial attack is just going to be the attack that you're really going to have to avoid. So just to quickly recap and wrap this up, take off from a runway if you can, stay low, around 1,000 to 2,000 meters off the ground, hit the objectives, and get back to base as quick as possible. But anyway guys, that just about sums everything up. If you have any questions, ask away, and next War Thunder video will be a B-24 formation video. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Brandon, and as always, have a nice day.